It has been a minute since we were back here at the shop working on our in-house projects, and so today one of those in-house projects is this FG XR6 Turbo. So this one is a car that we have had here before, and I'm going to cut to a little bit of stuff that we did on this the last time around, so with some YouTube magic.
If you can't build it out of cardboard, you shouldn't be building it at all, right?
Hey bro, you want some caps? It's not that uncommon for under a seat to look like this, but the worst parts are where this earth is. Like it's just screwed into the floor, it's not cleaned up. This time around we are fitting a whole range of new things, so you can already see the boot that's already here in the back. But today we're going to add to the factory setup slash aftermarket setup that's already in this car. So we've got the big boy Alpine 11-inch halo screen. We've got that, which is the Helix DSP Pro processor, replacing an Autosym processor that's already installed in this car. And it comes with its own controller. And last but not least, this big boy, the FG Falcon install kit. This one is in piano black, so it looks like it's a really nice finish overall. It should match in really well with the factory system that's already in this car. So you'll see here inside, plenty of people already had their hands all over this car, including us, but we have factory head unit at the top, which before recently in FG Falcons wasn't something that you could replace unless you went down the route of cheaper Chinese type units, which we actually did recommend and sell for a little while, but it tended to have a lot of reliability problems with, and in the end went away from them. So we now have this Alpine system or Alpine solution that's going to suit this car. This has already had in the past fitted an Alpine single DIN head unit, CDA 137 EBT. So in the old school world of single DIN Alpine units, this is a pretty good example of a nice sound quality based unit. And then this one already also had the Autosym processor added to it as well. So the job for today is to basically rip out this passenger seat that I'm sitting on top of, pull out the Autosym processor. We're going to replace the RCAs that have been used in this as well, the signal wiring from the processor to the back. We're going to rip out the factory head unit and all of whatever's been added in there as well, so that we can get the most out of this system for him, and then we'll be up for retune. So already got 2 amplifiers fitted, already got 2 big subs in the back, speakers been changed, soundproofing's been done. This car's already pretty accomplished sound system wise. We're just trying to take it now to the next level for the customer. So it's exciting times. And we're going to show you guys now the process of pulling one of these FG dashes apart. Hopefully not break anything in the process. They do get quite flimsy, BABF probably more so, but things like this top cover are hard to pull out because of their exposure to the sun. And again, this one's been apart a few times already. I think that most of, if not all of the audio system has actually already been bypassed from the factory system. So for us, it's really just going to be a case of wiring in the new head unit to power up, changing the signal wiring in from the top to the bottom, and then go from there. Okay, so we're getting towards the end of day one here. The sun is setting there behind me, but yeah, a big successful progressive day. So inside we're all pulled apart all the way through. You saw a bit on the time lapse where I've changed over the processor. So the Helix unit's just sitting in there. That whole center dashboard's apart now. The new unit's sitting there on its side ready to go in. I've got most of that wired up as well, ready to go. A couple of extra bits just to check on it. Running through a reverse camera, which we're adding in now as well. In the back, all of the sides are pulled apart and everything else is pulled apart now as well, all the covers and everything that we put on here before. So unfortunately I've got to unwrap all this cable because we're replacing all these RCAs with some higher quality options. But yeah, that's basically it. So we're getting ready just to pull this down because we're going to trim this carpet and run some trim on the bottom here to match all that up. I've got that coming, and I've got to run through the new RCAs as well. So yeah, getting there bit by bit. Looks a mess now, it's all pulled apart unfortunately. Alright, so yes, we got the carpet redone here in the back, and we got the carpet redone here on this, so it's all blacked out now and looks much the same as the rest of the boot install and the panels that we put in here. So I also made a couple more panels that are inside. I'll show you. They sit up in there and fill in those gaps on the sides. We've got some lights that are going to go in this section here, which I didn't supply, but at least they'll be there. So yeah, moving forward on that project. That's just about finished now. We'll do some tuning on it, get the last little bits of it finished off, and then we'll be hunky. Okay, so pro tips time. We're in the back of the Falcon, and we've been supplied this El Cheapo off-the-shelf lighting kit, LED lighting kit, which is going in the back of this car where the subs are, and it has a cigarette lighter plug on it. There's kind of two ways you can adapt to these, and especially in this case where there isn't obviously a cigarette lighter that we're just going to plug this into. You can either buy an off-the-shelf female socket to slide that on and tape it all up, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is just solder straight onto your tabs here, and then wrap it up and basically tie it up in the back out of the way. I like to solder them because once they're on there permanently, and they're not likely to slide out, especially sitting in here next to this big sub box, because there's obviously a lot of vibration. We can just kind of tie it off to one side and hide it in behind the beauty panels that are here. We got 4 of these LED strip lights. So these LED strip lights go, or are going to go, above the 2 subs, and then just in, probably facing against the wall inwards, just to sort of light up some ambient light here in the back. So I'll show you how to do that now. Basically these outer tabs are earths, and this is normally your positive, so positive and negative. Sometimes these outer tabs aren't actually connected inside either, so you have to be aware of that when you go to solder these. Usually if you pinch on them, you can kind of feel which side's tighter than the other, but you know, if it doesn't work, that's the first place to check, just to make sure that these tabs are actually working. Okay, so I've got a twin core wire here, which is wired already to the back boot lights. So basically this new light and the old one that we did at the back, or the existing one that we did at the back, will come on at the same time. Pretty simple to follow, but what we're going to do is a process called tinning. So we've got a nice hot soldering iron here. We strip off some raw copper from these cables, and we're actually just putting solder straight onto the end of each terminal. So we're going to go with positive and negative onto these wires. It's not a great soldering iron, this old dog, but it does the job. Work with me, brother. There we go. Friggin' hell. Right. Another trap for young players is trying to deal with stuff when you got when you got no hands to work with. So I normally use a set of crimpers, cutters, whatever I've got handy, just to pinch hold that thing in place so it doesn't move. We're going to repeat the process here, where we're just going to put a bit of solder. Important not to put too much heat into the end cap, because as it gets too hot, it will actually melt the plastic housing it sits in. And I have had a situation where, yeah, if you put too much heat into it, it melts this plastic, and then the whole thing just flies off because it's sprung loaded. You can see that's a nice, good, solid bond there of solder. Same on this side. Alright, so you can see those bits of solder are now attached to that steel. And now the final part in this process of tinning these together, it's as simple as sit them on top of each other and apply heat to the top one. So we're heating that solder up again. There we go. So we're heating the top one up, and we're using the heated wire to actually melt the one on the bottom. So now those are bonded together, nice and solid. Now we do the same again with the top. You normally get one shot at this before the solder sort of gets like it's been overcooked, and you sort of got to put some fresh stuff on it. There we go. You know exactly when you get it because it melts in nicely. Right. So now we switch her on. It's got a switch here on the back, and you can see switch it on and off. All four of them light up just like that. Right, so now we've done that, we're going to finish off this masterpiece, protect it from itself, and then we can tie that off, like I said, up hidden away, and mount all of our lights, and then we're done. Alright, so that suspect looking little thing is now all wrapped up. I just used some of this Car Builder's fleece tape. It's nice and thick. Put on a few layers of it, and when you run your hands over it, you can't feel any spiky sections or sections where there's going to be wires poking through or whatever. It's really sticky stuff, so it's not likely that it's ever going to fail on me, which is definitely what you want. So now I'll just finish off by mounting all of this up in the back there, and we're done.